What's up guys, welcome to my channel 2035437. It's Shannon Carter here. Over the next several weeks I will be diving headfirst into the world of comedy and I cannot wait to take you all with me. Today we did various exercises, one involving a person leaving the room then coming back in to find an object had been hidden. It was then up to the audience to hum so that the person would know when they are near the object. The purpose of this exercise is to teach us to listen to the audience, it encourages playfulness, and it teaches us one of the main principles of comedy, which is superiority. In this case, the audience is superior to the actor, the character, because they know something that the character doesn't. In this instance, the person following the hum looks ridiculous and the audience holds superiority, and because of this situation, they're then invited to laugh. In Performing Comedy, A Student's Guide, Wilkie explains that a clash occurs between the one who knows better, the audience, and the one whose vulnerability is being exploited for comic effect, in this case the character. It's sort of like in The Office. Jim pranks Dwight all the time. Dwight doesn't know that it's a prank, but Jim does, and we, the audience, know of the situation. One example would be when a bat gets loose in the office, and so Jim subtly throughout the day convinces Dwight that he is turning into a vampire. So today we had a camera workshop with Jono and Jules. Now, camera acting is very, very different to stage acting. On a stage you do have more freedom, whereas when you're on camera, the blocking does need to be really, really precise. John Swain, in The Science and Art of Acting for Camera, says the tighter the shot, the less you need to do, but you always need to stay engaged. So you don't need to go darting around the stage, you can do just as much in your stillness, just make sure that you do stay connected. Today there was also an exercise where Ruby was instructed to run around in a circle and fall over in the same place each time. This utilised incongruity and relief, the other two principles of comedy. The first time she fell was the incongruity part, which means the unexpected, and then the other two times that she fell was the relief, because we waited in anticipation for her to fall, and when she did, it was the relief laugh. Adults actually use incongruity when they are addressing children, and it's the same way in which the actor uses incongruity when performing to an audience. In the same book I mentioned in week 1, Wilkie goes on to state that careless verbal and non-verbal communication employs many of the exact tropes that are used in comic performance. And Ruby's Fall used some of these, so repetition, facial exaggerations, and physical engagement. So, today was my favourite day so far. Every single warm-up game I failed incredibly and was the first to be eliminated, but I was having a good time and that's all that matters. We did some tongue twisters, which of course I will demonstrate for you now. I want a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee pot. Again, I want a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee. I want a proper cup of coffee from a She stood upon the balcony, inimitably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in. She stood upon the balcony, inimitably mimicking and hiccuping and amicably welcoming. Jesus! I feel like I could probably do with a bit of practice on those. Now, there are loads of reasons why we might do tongue twisters, aside from embracing how silly we might look when we get it wrong and coming out with gibberish, a language I'm fluent in. Tongue twisters also allow us to free our voice, and as Cicely Berry says in Voicing the Actor on page 43, whatever the text, the actor has to find the specific measure of the words he is using with clarity and accuracy, which absolutely does apply to comedy, because if the audience can't hear you and understand what you're saying, you're probably not going to hear the laughs. In our pairs, mine being myself and Shannon, we were then given the most bizarre poems to read, and we had to perform it, and we read it as if we were stealing the spotlight from each other, and it was full of incongruity, mainly because we ourselves didn't know what was going to happen next. Luke McMahon wrote an article called How to Act Comedy, where he stated, "It's all about having the confidence to make big choices," which I feel like me and Shannon definitely do together. We have so much fun when we work together, so it's sort of like easy to do that, it's comfortable. Week 4 was an interesting one. We spent most of the time actually transcribing our script, because up until this point we had not been able to find one. We chose a scene from Two Broke Girls. It's titled Chanel No. 2 and it is hilarious. Transcribing it actually really helped, because listening to it over and over and over again, because we had to write it down, made it really stick in my brain. And it was here I noticed something. Scott Sedita in How to Become a Comedy Actor says, "Keep in mind, comedy consists of positive and negative forces that work against each other to create humour in the script, especially in dialogue." And I saw this in our script because of how our two characters are complete polar opposite. Mine comes in very low energy, quite dark, the other very high energy, positive ray of sunshine. Then an event happens, the positive ray of sunshine, Caroline, falls in mud, horse manure, and there's no water to turn it off, so she then becomes the negative focus of the situation, even though she was a bubbly positive ray of light earlier, and my character's energy is then raised by this event. She goes from being like, to And you actually see it in loads of comedy. So let's look to like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Their like group of people is so unhinged and they're always working against like normal everyday people, and it is hilarious. For example, when they're being like interrogated by the police or giving a statement to the police, and Charlie goes into like some random Jaws monologue. It's so funny and so bizarre. John Wright in Why Is It So Funny says, "We don't need an explanation for the bizarre, it's funny in its own right." Today we did the wild emphasis exercise, where we had to highlight interesting words and make them as big as possible in our scenes. Truth be told, I didn't understand the assignment. I focused too much on the fact that my character was low energy, played her too naturalistically, and so lost the energy of the scene, where I could have exaggerated her low energy. Catherine Hart, in her article 5 Tips for Comedy, states that comedy has an energy to it. Even if you're doing very laid-back humour, it has a buzz to it. And I lost my buzz. Usually, I'm a very buzzy person. I'm basically a bumblebee in human form. So this has taught me to keep the buzz, to never let the buzz go, to just keep on buzzing. I do feel I redeemed myself in the next exercise. This is where we have to play the scene to different music played by Majid. So if the music was a happy fast-paced tempo, that's how we would find the rhythm in the script. Ian Wilkie, in that book I love, goes on to say that while there may be rhythmic clues in the text, it is down to the actor and how they play it that actually creates comedic meaning. So this music allowed me to find a pace that meant I wasn't rushing through the script or playing it too slow, and the rhythm of how you speak it actually changes the tone and the meaning of the text you're playing. Today, we did one of my favourite exercises so far, musical chairs. But we are in actor training, and this was no ordinary musical chairs. This was operatic musical chairs. And the basics of this was we had to fight for the chair. If we lost it, we would have to give an operatic performance. Not gonna lie, at first I was terrified of losing my chair. But when I did, I was like, you know what, this is happening, may as well commit. I went full Mr. Bean in Mr. Bean's Holiday, and if you haven't seen that scene, I beg you do, because it's hilarious, and Rowan Atkinson's a legend. But anyway, it was that kind of energy that, in that scene, got them the money that they were after, because it's that kind of energy that gets the audience reactions. And let's face it, we're actors, we want to make an impression. Otherwise it's just a little bit disappointing. Scott Sedita wrote in the article for Backstage that comedy is made up of two things: the desperation and the unpredictable. And this is something I definitely saw in this game, because people were desperate to get those chairs. I can definitely see why that exercise fits in with everything that we're doing. It really helps you find that extreme of your scene. So that concludes my vlog. I have learned so much over the past several weeks of Majid, learning all about the 3 principles of comedy, comedic timing, rhythm, everything like that. It's been so valuable, and I can't wait to do my scene with Cheyenne, 2 Broke Girls. But for now, this Broke Girl is out. Thank you so much for watching.